Whoa, that is definitely some high-speed time-lapse we're looking at here. This is where the watch design process is going at the moment. You see, I do a little bit of research. So what are my new thoughts? Well, I've decided it's tricky to keep to some of my original ideas, considering the 3D printing sort of requires to do designs which might not be right up the alley of what I originally had in mind. However, as I've been going along, I can see that maybe there are other design ideas which I could still like. Make use of the 3D printing and but maybe not keeping straight completely to what I originally had thought of. For one thing, I think normally there's a lot of different materials in a watch, but really this is going to have probably just 2 or 3. So the glass will be one, sapphire crystal, hopefully not actually that expensive when you're buying it from like a watch supply shop. There'll be the band, which I think will just be a leather band in this case. Oh, there you go, there's the crystal. I was looking at doing that, getting the curve and the dome right. So there'll be the band, the crystal, and then there'll be the watch body, which will be all one material, including the face. So the whole face and everything will just be one material. So I guess that means I can really put more design elements into the actual structure, which will be busy, which I wanted to avoid. But maybe that busyness is okay, since I'm not going to have the variety of finishes and materials. So a typical watch, if you look at it, there'll be lots of different finishes and materials on there. I mean, the face will be, the dial will be one thing, the hands will be another, the sides will be another, maybe even the bezel will be another. Whereas for this one it'll be all the same material, so maybe I can go a bit busier on the actual nitty-gritty sort of design, and it won't be quite so in your face because the material is just one material. I'll come back to this design process in more detail later on, but for now I thought I'd just upload this time lapse showing that I have been working away at it. Goes on for a little while here. I might cut out the boring bits. So what I'm trying to do is get a little bit of extra detail onto the surface, and I'm going to gradually work this up. But for now, I was sort of playing just to see if when I did something, whether I liked it. I quit trying to draw the design too much. The drawing was not helping, was a bit slow. I decided that I could actually model in 3D sort of quicker, and I can adjust easily, and I can see from different angles. Some of the drawings I'm just not used to. Well, I can draw, but I just can't draw watches so quickly and easily, and know what they'll look like in my head. But this way I can model and quickly see things in 3D. This is quite early stages still. There's a fair bit more to go. Since I thought I'd provide a bit of background music, I don't really... Once this again, the ukulele. I don't play ukulele, but I have a ukulele, so I can... provide some background sounds maybe, I don't know, does that make it more interesting than watching just this thing on its own? Decided one of the things I could do with the watch 3D printing is I could move away from circular designs a little bit more. I think currently when they make watch, well, there seems to be a lot of circular design. Not too sure if that's because it's easy then to polish and machine. Since I won't be doing any of that, I thought I could avoid it a little bit more. Be a bit more organic, and then I ended up with a sort of a space sci-fi rocket ship type of theme, and in aid of the theme I decided to use, you could see just before, some airstrip numbers, and I've looked up the font for airstrip. There's a particular type of font that they use on runways. I guess it's because it's legible at a big distance. I thought that might be a good idea for a watch. Legible at a distance, that's sort of what you want. It's an interesting sort of font. I think it could work. It's not like a typical everyday... Well, it's not particularly pretty font. Anyway, I played here with this design of growing and expanding different rings on the watch face, and eventually I move in a slightly different direction. This was sort of potentially interesting, but it was a bit slow and not... it was missing some of the... I think the detail that I was hoping for. So I went back to drawing a few things, and I gradually expand on my ideas. What's going on here? Well, I do have some circles. Now those are concentric circles, and some of them are not concentric. They're actually the orbits of the planets of the solar system. Again, on this sort of space theme, I always wanted to have a model solar system that you could refer to. Just people ask you, how far away Pluto is. You could sort of show them on your watch. So all those big fat outside rings there, and the one that's sort of funny shaped, the funny shaped one that goes outside the watch is actually Pluto. The next one in, I think, is is it Neptune? And then Uranus, and then Saturn, and then Jupiter is the fairly small ring. Oh yeah, here we go, starting to get sort of more of a different effect. So that small inside dark ring, the one that's the smallest, that's easy to see, that's Jupiter. And then way inside of all that is Mars, and then Earth. So Earth is around the Sun, very close to the Sun by comparison to the majority of the planets. Mercury, of course, is so close, you can't even see it. It'd effectively be at the outside of the little hour wheel, the tiny little pinion that comes up from the very centre that holds the hands on the watch. That is effectively the orbit of Mercury. Earth is just a couple more millimetres past that, and yet Neptune and Pluto are at the very outside of the watch face. So here I start to decide to mark out the seconds. A lot of mucking around, a lot of looking at things from different angles. So here we have the position of the planets as well. Just you saw before there were some dots on the outside of those rings. That's where the planets actually are currently. And I might also add that I checked some of the rings don't look that concentric, and well, some of the planets really don't orbit that all that round. So one of them, for instance, is at Uranus, I think, or Neptune. I think it might be Neptune. It wobbles well. I mean, it goes in an elliptic orbit, which is not round that much, and you can actually see it when you look at it from the side of the solar system on your left, a long way away. There you go, look at that, see? Not all of them are right in the middle. So, in case you're wondering, this method of modelling is called displacement modelling, where you use a grayscale image to actually move the surface of the model outwards. It's a physical movement of the surface, not just a pretend or sort of optical illusion. It actually recreates the surface of the model at a new location based on the image that you used. So I'm able to actually use images in Photoshop as a way to build up the 3D surface of the model of the watch. Now I went to a whole lot of trouble here to make a hole through my second's sort of fins that are going to poke out. I hope this is printable. I'm a little bit concerned that I've gone to too small a detail, but anyway, this hole here is going to let the orbit of, I should get this right, of Neptune and Pluto a little bit show up, so you can see it go around through the little holes, the little sort of ring of holes. And I mucked around a fair bit doing that, but there we have it. I've made a longer, big, funny looking thing fly out for the hours, so as the hour's hand comes past, it can almost tap those little things on the nose, and the second hands can come along and almost tap the second hand, sort of flying buttresses on the nose up the top there. One thing I'm going to attempt to do, and I'm not too sure, I haven't really seen it done, but I'm going to attempt to bend the hands of the watch so that I can get the hands up into the air a fair way, into the clear, so I can have sort of 3D printed depth, and that doesn't block the rotation of the hands. So I'm going to try and gently bend the hands to face up into the air a bit more, so I can have some detail underneath them, and the two don't interrupt each other. So I'm just about to start when I figure out the proper mapping here, and move the map into the middle of the watch. We now have a basic design. The numbers are also embedded into the shape. You can see there, for a second you could see the numbers being embedded in. And there's just a bit of fine tuning of the position of the planets. So this will, that's it. Well, anyway, you'll be able to tell when the watch was made by looking at where the planets are, and then that, in theory, will say a particular year, depending on where they all are in relation to each other. I thought that was sort of neat. Okay, well that's looks like the end of that. You don't have to listen to any more of my ukulele either, and I will be back again soon with another update how this is all going. So thanks for watching. Till then.